Hello, I'm Brigante of Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Friday and welcome back to Storyteller's Corner. This week we're going to look at Firefly and the characters Malcolm Reynolds and Inara Sera. Firefly was a short-lived sci-fi show from the early 2000s and it gained a devoted following, me included. It's set several hundred years into the future. Humans have sophisticated terraforming technology and they have used it to colonize another solar system that's rich in planets and moons. Now, a firefly is a kind of cargo and transport ship. It's favored by smugglers because its design lends itself to hidden nooks and crannies. And the system of planets is ruled by the Alliance, who united all the planets and moons and stations under their rule following a civil war fought by independents who opposed them, and the independents lost due to lack of numbers and resources. So, let's look at Mal and Inara. Mal is an ex-soldier who fought for the independence. He was present for the Battle of Serenity Valley, which essentially crushed his side of the war. Now, after the war, he bought a Firefly ship, named it Serenity, and gathered a crew, and they transport goods, occasionally take on passengers, and they try to stay as much out of the reach of the Alliance as possible, especially when the jobs they're hired for are of a dubious legality. Now, Inara is a registered companion. In this particular universe, prostitution is legal and regulated and run by a guild. Companions make a distinction between themselves and whores, not only because they belong to a guild and thereby have standards, but also because companions are extremely well educated. They hold a position in higher society, which also comprises their clientele, whereas independents, aka the whores, do not have that. And Mal and Inara met when she arranged to rent one of the shuttles of his ship for her business. Her presence on the ship makes Mal more palatable to various business people. Believe it or not, her presence actually gives him a veneer of respectability. And Mal's roving throughout the system enables her to expand her client base. So it was intended to be a mutual beneficial business arrangement. No strings attached, no difficulties, no drama. However, feelings made everything also very awkward and complicated. And the struggle between Mal and Inara lies in the reality that they had feelings for each other, but these were unacted upon feelings, and the completely irreconcilable difference over Inara's chosen profession. Mal has zero respect for Inara's work, but he has oceans of respect for her as a person, as well as a genuine concern and affection for her. He's trapped in those feelings because he will not get into a relationship with a woman involved in sex work, and he's quite correct about holding that line. The very nature of a romantic relationship is rooted in exclusivity, something that Inara is not in a position to offer. So Inara carries on with her affairs, noticeably has a lack of an actual relationship with Mal or any other person. Her dealings with clients, despite offers from some of them to make it an exclusive contract, are cordial but emotionally uninvolved. She even acknowledges at one point to another character that dating is extremely complicated for anyone in her position. So they go round and round in circles, and the solution to Mal and Inara's standoff is as simple as it would be dramatic to implement. In order to have a relationship with Mal, Inara would have to leave her profession. Mal has enough self-respect not to be willing to compromise and sexually share a woman he loves with other people. And Inara has enough respect for Mal not to ask him to compromise his beliefs. I suspect many people who have an OnlyFans account would find Inara's situation quite relatable. While there may be plenty of willing and paying clients for a time, it doesn't follow that people with an OnlyFans account find it easy to have actual relationships. And especially for those who make considerable amounts of money with it, they might find it very hard to give up. It's their livelihood, just as it was Inara's. Some people put forth as a solution that it's enlightened and better to accept so-called open relationships, and that it's up to the person who doesn't want an open relationship to change, and that there's something inherently wrong or unduly possessive with having an expectation of exclusivity. This is obviously a slap in the face to expect people to share, because there's no clearer way to communicate to someone that they are not enough, that they are unworthy of faithfulness, that they aren't interesting enough to hold your interest and don't deserve a serious commitment, than to say, yeah, I'm definitely not sticking to you. There's going to be other people involved in the bedroom. Now, to Inara's credit, she doesn't push off the consequences of her choices onto the idea of it being Mal's problem and that he needs to change. And had the show continued, it would have been very challenging writing to find a way to resolve their situation. Even in the early 2000s, people were deeply uncomfortable with even a hint of a suggestion that a woman would ever be called upon to make a change in favor of a man, particularly for his needs and his preferences, even if those are actually quite reasonable. It was and is viewed as anti-feminist. And that mindset complicates male-female relations just generally because women are taught to never compromise, to never give an inch, to never entertain the idea that a man could be right and have a point. And indeed, I mean, a lot of women have been raised to never consider the possibility that they should, or that there would be any benefit from ever compromising or meeting someone even halfway. So it's not a surprise that given that climate that there's so many issues with male and female relationships. Now, as far as the show goes, I do think that eventually Inara would have gone into a different profession. She would have decided that she valued Mal and their feelings for each other over her job. And as far as her job goes, let's be realistic. Her job has an expiration date. I do see this as a cautionary tale about the need to make decisions that look towards creating a long-term good and to think about what you want in your life, especially after beauty fades, because beauty always fades. Time marches on, and eventually it marches right across your face. So that's my take on that. If you're a Firefly enthusiast, I'd love to hear from you. You'd be very welcome to visit me at Blackbird's Brew. There is a link to join in the description box below. And of course, as always, please subscribe to this channel, like the video, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.